you've had live class with me before, you probably know this pose really well. It's my single favorite pose to start with. So your feet are about as wide as your hips. Got somewhere between 6 to 18 inches between your heels and the edge of your glutes. And then you're going to roll back down. And rest the head. In addition to resting the head, we're going to allow the elbows to come to rest and place the hands on the ribs. Letting your eyes softly close. Begin by taking in the soundscape. Harmonious voices. Wind, water, ambient sounds, inner voices. When we use the soundscape as our object of meditation, we tend not to grasp. Each sound is only there for as long as it's there. We're not the author of the sound. So we're able to practice our meditation from the perspective of a witness. The drashta. Part of us that notices. The ever-present witness. Once we've completed our soundscape meditation, we're going to do one last inner reflection. And feel the presence of breath. You can hear the presence of breath as we're outside and the wind is clear and present. You can feel your own internal wind, the presence of prana. Literally, the Earth's atmosphere coming into you as you are already enveloped by it. And settle into this dance of expansion and contraction. See if on every inhalation you can relax mentally. And with every exhalation, relax physically. Take advantage of your hands and really feel your breath at the intersection of your belly and your rib cage. Noticing both expansion out to the sides and forward. In addition to filling into your back. Really feeling all 4 dimensions of your breath. Feeling it move up and down. Feeling it move side to side. Feeling it expand front to back. And feeling your breath expand in that last dimension of time. And just enjoy these last few deep breaths before we get moving. Let's start by reaching the arms up. And just cup your hands, sort of like you're holding softball. And then gently rotate. Lots of variables to consider here. You can work at any speed that feels comfortable. You can turn the dials more or less depending on your comfort level or your desired outcome. You can make it a movement that originates in your wrists, touches your elbows, and barely touches your shoulders. Or you can rotate more from your shoulders up through your wrists. Play with it. Next, shake it out. And release. Next, we're going to reach both arms up. And gently, gently flex the arms overhead. Let the back arch a little bit, but only a little. Try not to flare the ribs too much. And then slowly letting the arms come all the way down toward the feet into full extension. The arms are about as wide as the shoulders. Elbows are straight. And again, you can vary the speed. Of course, you're not compelled to go all the way to the floor. You want to listen to the sensations in your shoulder. And lastly, if you want to link these more closely to your breathing pattern. You can coordinate right along with your breath. I'd suggest inhaling through the upward lift and exhaling through the downward extension phase. So to repeat, we're going to inhale into upward flexion, and we're going to exhale through the downward extension. Let's try one more. Excellent. Next, let's open the arms a little wider and allow the head to rotate side to side. Oh, that feels good. So while I'm moving through this exercise, I've got to use my neck muscles a little to generate the turn, but I'm also trying to keep the back of the head released into the floor. Neck muscles somewhat relaxed. Head stays nice and heavy. I'm just looking for a little stretch sensation at the end of the turn. You can linger in it. Alternately, you could add a bit of downward extension through the opposite arm. So as you look left, charge that right arm a bit. And conversely, when you look right, you charge the left arm. Next, we can link together the neck exercise with the shoulder flexion and extension and do it asymmetrically. So we'll reach one arm, open over the head, and allow the head to turn to the left. And we'll bring that same arm down as the head comes back to center. Left arm back, head to the right. Left arm down as head rotates to the center. Again, as the right arm goes into flexion, the head finds a leftward turn. And as the right arm goes back to the floor into extension, the head centers. Left arm back, head to the right. Left arm down, head to the center. And now let's connect to the breath again. Inhale, right arm back, head to the left. Exhale, right arm down, head to the center. Inhale, left arm back, head to the right. Exhale, left arm down, head to the center. Try a couple on your own. Last one per side. Inhale in. And reach and return. Exhale in. Back to center. All right. So next, the legs. We're going to catch hold of one knee. You can catch hold of the back of the knee if that feels better. You can do a combination of one on top, one on bottom if you'd rather. I'm going to lean the head back down, and we're going to go into some flexion and extension along the sagittal plane. Okay? So the side of your mat, you're going to let the leg push forward, run out of arm space, so that's all we've got, and we're going to flex the leg in any amount flexibility permits. Forward, inward, forward, inward. Now in both conditions my hip is in flexion, but here when I hug it's in more flexion, and here when I push it's in less flexion. So this angle is more acute,
Now, when you do
this angle is more obtuse, open up.
Bridge pose,
I'm connecting these movements with breathing. You can exhale as you flex in, and inhale as you extend forward. Exhale, flex in, inhale, extend forward. All right. Let's release. Ooh. That felt really good. Okay, we're going to switch sides. So, same idea along the sagittal plane, the sideline of your mat. You'll flex, and then less flex. Pulling, pushing, pulling, pushing. Synchronize with breathing. Squeezing during the exhale and allowing the leg to push forward during inhale. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, push. Last couple. All right. So next, we're going to coordinate both legs. This one has a bit more resistance to it as well. So, let's try. You're going to hold on, and one leg's going to push forward. And with that leg, I can feel it already. My hip's almost cramping because I really create tension here and strength on this push side, and I'm releasing on the pull side. And then switching. So push and pull. And on the push side, your leg is trying to come in towards your head, but you're not letting it. That creates the isometric tension. On the pull side, you're just allowing the hip to stretch. Last couple. This is called Apanasana in yoga. Just with some very deliberate modifications. And then release. Like this. And 4 or 5 times, I'm just going to squeeze into that midline. Squeeze into that midline. And this is sometimes going to deliver a little sacral reset, a little pelvic reset, a little, occasionally even an audible sound of like a thump. So we're going to rest the knees right above the hips, like a little tabletop position. We'll take the feet out in front of the knees, as though the calves were on a table. And we'll reach the arms up, parallel to the planet. Did I say parallel? Perpendicular. Parallel to the walls. Okay. Then we're going to reach up the left leg and bring it back to tabletop. Then we'll reach up the right leg and we'll bring it back to tabletop. Next, as we reach up the left leg, we'll flex back to the right arm and reset. And when we reach up through the right leg, we'll flex back to the left arm and reset. I'm starting to move the opposite arm down, which is an option. And then even adding the head movement away from reaching arm, center, away from reaching arm, center. These type of sequences lean pretty heavily into the Viniyoga tradition. Had the good fortune to study several times directly with Gary Kraftsow, who's America's foremost Viniyoga instructor. All right, let's try one more per side. And back to center. In that system, they'd use the term mini Vini, like a little mini vinyasa. Mini vinyasa. All right, and then let's come back. So, we've gone through the hips, we've gone through a sequence for the shoulders, we've gone through a sequence for the neck, we've gone through a little meditation, and we're going to try a couple hip strengthening postures before we come off our back here. So, bridge. What a great pose. We're going to maintain length in the neck. And keep the rib cage pretty steady. De-emphasizing back bending. And take the feet out in front of the hips. Not too far. And lift up the hips. These bridges are powered by, motivated by, strengthened by the back, the hips, the glutes, the hamstrings, and then come back down. We're going to try 10. It's 2, moving pretty slowly. Each time, there's a nice strong contraction through the backside. There's a little stretch through the front, through the groins, through the quadriceps, through the psoas muscle. Let's try just a couple more. So you've got these 3 phases for the muscles to go through as they locomote you through space, moving, accelerating, and then muscles that help you move through space, decelerating, slowing down. And then you've got muscles that help you, and I'm sure they all overlap and function, but then you've got the capacity to also just hold. Not locomoting. So with a good bridge, you can deliver all 3 elements. Concentric on your way up, isometric at the top, and eccentric, that all-important braking system, eccentric as you go down. Let's try 2 more. Setubandha Sarvangasana, the bridge. But a bridge that emphasizes hip strength, glute strength, and de-emphasizes back bending. All right. All right, everybody. So we're going to hug the knees. Curl up the shoulders and the head. And rock a little. So I'm avoiding my neck. And for now I'm avoiding the feet. But getting awfully close. I'm trying to create flexion, roundness in the back. It's much easier to roll over a rounded spine. That means contraction in my abdominals as I roll back. And then as you're feeling more comfortable, you can roll up to a seat and do a little stretch. All And then we're going to shift all fours. And we're just going to make simple little circles. Warming up around the shoulders and through the hips. And make sure that you have your knees sufficiently padded. Maybe take 10 or 12 or 15 circles around. And another 10 or 12 or 15 circles in the opposite direction. Then as you work your way back to the center, pause, and then allow your belly and your glutes to soften. And lengthen your spine up and out through the chest and the crown of the head, back and up through the hips and the tail, and allow some arch through your lumbar spine. And then, pushing the floor, rounding your shoulders, rounding your low back, create flexion. And then as you're ready, gently go back and forth, extending through your dog tilt, and flexing through your cat tilt. And again, the breath pattern is inhaling as you arch, exhaling as you round. Little by little, we're going to start adding a fold on top of the round. So as you round up, begin to hinge, ribs toward thighs, and your bottom toward your heels. Come back through to dog tilt. Create the cat tilt in the middle, and then add slowly flexing deeply until you wind up in child's pose. One more go. Inhale. Exhale. Sink. We're going to round up into some flexion and extend and flex into our cat tilt and arch into the dog tilt. And now from a stable tabletop position, we're going to reach out. Left leg, right arm, and then right arm, left leg. And alternate sides. Left leg, right arm, left arm, right leg. Keeping your hips relatively neutral, although the lifted leg side might rise up a bit. You want to keep your trunk strong. Next, we're going to shift into side plank. I'm going to tuck that elbow in a little closer than you might think, and raise up the opposite arm with your hips lifted. And then let's switch sides. So we're going to take one leg and swing it along the outer edge of your mat. And if you want to do a little counter swing with your opposite arm, simulating walking, you're welcome to. If your balance is compromised, consider this one way to improve it. But if you need a little extra support, you can always hold on to a wall. So this movement enables our hip to travel along this sideways plane, and your shoulder potentially as well. The sagittal plane that runs right along the side of your mat. And then we'll switch sides. Now, while we get the new side swinging, with or without the help of the wall, again, you've got the option of adding the opposite arm swing, sticking with only the leg, or holding the wall. I like the opposite arm swing. Now, this whole time we're getting one leg moving along the sagittal plane, we're trying to create stability through the opposite leg. And some limited amount of rigidity through the upper part of your trunk. And let's release. Okay. So then, I'm going to face the opposite direction. We're going to move the leg corresponding with the front line of your mat, conveniently called the frontal plane. So here the leg sweeps left to right, much like if you were trying to deliver a soccer ball directly to someone to your left or to your right. And here I think the challenge is even greater than the former one. And then let's release. So now the right leg is going to be the stable leg, and we're going to get the left leg swinging. We're gently moving along the frontal plane. And again, I do sometimes look down just to keep an eye on what I'm doing, but optimally for your neck, your eyes have an eye-level gaze. Look out at the horizon line. And then let's release. Okay. So, next movement, we're going to do some hip flexion. Flex, flex. And we're just going to alternate sides. And you can drive the knees up, really as high as you're able to comfortably. Shoot for somewhere higher than the hips. And like the former movements, you can add a very similar movement pattern in your arm/shoulder. And again, you're doing a right and left, a right and left, simulating walking. Last couple steps. Okay, next, we're going to get the leg to swing backward and bend. Extension. Sometimes called a butt kicker, for good reason. I'm going to go through a couple rounds of these on each side. And let's release. Next. We're going to do a roll down, progressive flexion and progressive extension. So I'm concentrating on one vertebra at a time, moving through the neck, And moving through the thoracic spine. Continuing down. Until I feel the lumbar. Until I run out of room to fold. And then once I get to the bottom, I'm going to start from the bottom upward and uncurl. Segment by segment. From low to middle to high. Back up to neutral. So the next time I roll down, I'm going to walk out into a dog pose. And then from here we're going to gently walk using the hands. And then as I'm running out of mat, using the feet. And I'm just going to lean forward toward a plank position. And then pike up into a downward facing dog. Now, down dog can come with a complete release of the head. And as you're transitioning into a plank, you're holding your head strong. One more transition. And now from here, we're going to step the left foot forward. Elijah, come on down. That's Elijah the dog. All right. He's a helpful assistant on occasion. All right. And then we're going to gently rotate up. Now, with the front leg, you're trying to bias your hips slightly out so you keep your glute engaged. And you're maintaining a knee over ankle alignment. Coming back to center, we're going to step to plank. Here's where you're welcome to insert a couple push-ups. And then let's step to the new side. So as we set up our lunge, knee over ankle, hips slightly rotated out, and we're going to twist. And come back to center. We're going to step back to downward dog. And then we're going to shift to all fours. We're going to do one round of Chakravakasana, which is dog tilt, cat tilt, transition into child's pose. Dog tilt, cat tilt, and transition into child's pose. One more time. Dog tilt. Cat tilt. Transition into child's pose. Dog tilt. Cat tilt. And transition into child's pose. One more time. Dog tilt. We're going to transition back to dog pose. What do you think about that? Dog pose. All right. And then we're going to do one more roll up. Not the fruit roll up, but a spinal roll up. Sometimes called the Jefferson curl. All right. And when we're back up, let's bring the hands to the heart. And then bring your gentle but total attention to the next one breath. All right. We'll see you next time. Namaste.